Hi, my name is John McIntyre and this is Custom Software Advisor. Today I'm going to talk about some best practices for securely managing your user passwords. Now you may believe that user credentials, the username and password, are stored in the database in clear text, meaning that you can read them without having to process them. They're just there for you to read. For example, the username, if you open up the user table in the database, you might see a column for username, which would be John McIntyre in my case, and let's say I entered a password of ABC123. In the password column, you would see ABC123, exactly what I entered. Now that's a very naive way of storing user credentials. And for the life of my career, that has been considered a very poor practice. And here's the problem. If your application is hacked or your database is hacked, anybody can easily see all the credentials of all the users, and they can log in and do whatever they want. And even if your application doesn't really allow you to do anything destructive, it can still serve as a serious embarrassment for your application or your company. If you ever see your user credentials in a database stored like that, you need to have a serious talk with your programmer. And you need to talk about maybe storing them in a more secure manner. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. Now, part of the solution is to mask it. So instead of storing the password in clear text, so for example ABC123 in my case, you would store a hash. So what is a hash? A hash is the result of a computational algorithm where you pass in a password, in our case ABC123, and it returns a series of alpha-numeric characters, letters and numbers, which you cannot reverse engineer to figure out the original input. A hash is a one-way algorithm. It's a one-way transformation. So you cannot take the result of a hash. You cannot take the result of a hashing algorithm and reverse the hash. It's like scrambling an egg. You cannot unscramble it ever. However, one good thing about a hash is they're consistent. So if I enter ABC123, it will generate the exact same hash value every single time. It's absolutely 100% consistent. So how do you hash a password? Well, you shouldn't roll your own hashing algorithm. No programmer is going to do that. There are many of good hashing algorithms out there, and they're free, and they're in a lot of standard libraries. So I will link to a couple of basic hashing algorithms just so you can see how they work, or hashing calculators, I mean, just so you can see how they work. But they're very basic, and they're in every library, and you can create a hash, and even if you had no idea how to do it, you could do a search and you could find out how to do it in minutes. So you store the hash in the database and it's all said and done. Everything's great, right? Wrong. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. The problem with that is even if you just hash the password and store that hash in the database, if a hacker gets a hold of the hash, they can just compare it to databases that they have where every known word and every probable password is already hashed using every known popular hashing algorithm. So they can instantly match all of the hashes up with any user who has used either a popular password or a known word, or a probable combination of of letters and numbers. For example, if you had password and instead of using O, you use 0. So all of those words would be instantly cracked, instantly. So what? Sorry about that, I have a bit of a stutter. I'm not going to edit it out though, you should see the real me. So what we need to do instead is we need to salt the password and hash the salt. So a salt is basically a series of alphanumeric characters, a random series of alphanumeric characters that are prepended or postpended to your clear text password, and then that combination of salt plus your clear text password is hashed. And then you store the username, as you would expect in clear text. You store the salt, and you store the hash of the salted password, meaning the salt plus the password and all that, the hash value of the two of those combined. So you store the username, the salt, and the hash of the salted password. So where do you get the salt? The salt can be created from standard random number or random character generators. So you can generate a series of random alphanumeric characters with many standard libraries which are included in most popular languages. So how does this all tie together? Well, when a user creates an account on your website, they will enter the username and password, for example. Then when they hit the submit button, you will generate a random salt value using the method we just discussed, and you will append the clear text password to the salt. You will hash the salted password, and then you will store the username, the salt, and the hash of the salted password. And then when the user logs in, you will retrieve their username and password. You will retrieve the appropriate data using their username. You will get the salt from the database that was used previously. You will prepend the salt to the clear text password the user just typed in. You will hash that salted password combination, and then you will compare the new hash with the hash that was stored in the database. And if the hashes match, then the user has entered the appropriate password. If the hash does not match, then they did not enter the appropriate password. So basically, in a nutshell, if you open your database and you see a user credential table and you see clear text passwords, you need to get that fixed ASAP. It's a really simple procedure, and most programmers will know how to do it. Any competent programmer will know how to do this. If not, I mean, you can refer them to this or this video, or there's plenty of blog postings out there describing exactly how to do it. It's not rocket science, and it's well documented all over the place. My name is John McIntyre, and this is Custom Software Advisor. If you like this video, or even if you hated it, please leave a comment either here at YouTube or on my blog at customsoftwareadvisor.com. I look forward to seeing your comments, and please review the video as well. I'd love to have some reviews, and forward to your friends. If you want to get in touch with me and discuss this or any other software problem you might have, or if you have a question you'd like me to talk about on the video, please use the contact form on my website. Again, customsoftwareadvisor.com. Okay, thank you very much again. Have a great day.